So, I just picked up these AirPods Max 2, and it's my first foray into the AirPods Max world. I never got the first ones, I never got the 1.5 ones that added USB-C for charging, and I wanted to see if 550 was worth it for a pair of headphones like this. And my quick synopsis is that these AirPods Max 2 is making me realize just how impressive AirPods Pro 3 are. So, let's talk about it. So now, before people start to tell me that these are completely different products and they're different headphones, different form factors, I am fully aware that one is an over-ear headset and the other one is an in-ear one. But at the same time, they're both under the AirPods name, they're both just updated to the latest and greatest in terms of internal chipsets, and they're both made by Apple to work exceptionally well with the Apple ecosystem, and it's true across the board. So I figured, let me compare the two and understand who is the target customer for a $550 pair of AirPods Maxes. So let me quickly just rattle off what the similarities are between the two in terms of capabilities and feature sets, because what Apple did to this version 2 of the AirPods Maxes was mostly around catching up to the features that you got on the AirPods Pro 3. For example, they now both have the H2 chip, they both have adaptive audio, of course they both have transparency and active noise cancellation, as well as conversational awareness, personalized spatial audio. A live translation is a new one that came to the Maxes that the Pros have had for a little while now, and you get all those awesome switching Apple ecosystem features, like being able to quickly play from one device to the other, switch between them, as long as you're under the same Apple ID. And specifically for the AirPods Maxes, some of the claims that Apple made is that you're getting better active noise cancellation, about 1.5x better than the original AirPods Maxes, you're getting bigger drivers, and then of course you have all the premium materials. But outside of adding the H2 chip and then those new smarter features like I mentioned, like conversation awareness, being able to translate in real time, isn't much new that comes to the AirPods Maxes. If anything, they're exactly the same as they were as previous compared to the 1.5 versions or the first versions that came out years ago. And then in terms of differences between the AirPods Pro 3 and the Max 2s, again, obviously the form factor is a big difference, but because of that form factor, the AirPods Maxes can have actually much larger physical drivers. But then also it allows for larger batteries, giving you 20 hours of consecutive playback time, which is something the AirPods Pro 3, because of the small form factor, are just incapable of doing. So if you really need to sit there and listen to something for 8+ hours continuously without any interruption, the AirPods Maxes will be able to do that with no issues whatsoever because it gives you that much more battery life. And then for those audiophiles, you do get wired-in USB-C lossless audio with the AirPods Max 2, which is something that just cannot be done with the AirPods Pro 3. So those are kind of the big things, but those are more so a form factor situation, right? You have the lossless audio, better battery life, and then larger drivers overall. And then the way that you interact with them physically is also a little bit different. You have the digital crown, which I love. They brought that over from the Apple Watch a few years ago to the AirPods Maxes in order to control the volume, as well as tapping in to do your play pause controls and your skip forward and skip back. And then you also have a physical button to go from active noise cancellation to transparency mode and then conversational awareness, depending on what you end up doing in your settings. Versus on the AirPods Pro 3, you have the stock, and that's how you control everything. You have the up and down volume, which is nice to see. You click it, which isn't a physical click down, it's more of a haptic feedback, very similar to what you see today with trackpads on MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros. So it is relatively familiar, but you still have physical controls on each, is that one of them has physical buttons and dials versus the other one is more touch sensitive in that little stock. So yes, I would say it's easier to do the controls on the AirPods Maxes, but I never really yearned for an easier way to interact with my AirPods while using the AirPods Pro 3. And then when it comes to the Pro 3s from a battery perspective, like I said, you're not going to get the full 20 hours of continuous playback time because the battery is inside the stocks. Physics just won't allow that, so you're getting anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of continuous playback time, depending on how you're using them, if you have ANC turned on or turned off, if you're just using passive noise cancellation. And then the case itself does provide an additional 24 to 30 hours, depending on how you use the AirPods. So overall, you get more battery life, but if you're on a 12-hour flight and you don't want to take off your headphones at all, then yes, the AirPods Maxes will give you better continuous playback time overall. Some other things that the AirPods Pro 3 have that the Maxes don't, these are IP57 sweat and water resistant, so these are made for workouts. This also has a heart rate sensor built in, the Pro 3s do, so that's always great to have more sensors if you are somebody who uses an Apple Watch, or maybe you use a Whoop, or both, or all three of them. So you no longer need to have an Apple Watch to do things like Apple Fitness Plus because you have a heart rate sensor built into here. And then some of the big features that the AirPods Pro 3 have that the Maxes don't is going to be the hearing aid and the hearing assistance that came out last year, as these AirPods 3 can now do that, which is amazing to see. So from an accessibility standpoint, you are getting way better and quality of life improvements with the AirPods Pro 3, where the Maxes just don't have that because they aren't rated to be hearing aids because they aren't in-ear headphones. But now, all those features aside, these are headphones through and through, so what is the sound quality like? And let me cut to my live reaction of comparing these two with the same exact music. So I want to give you guys my reaction. I'm listening to the same song on both the AirPods Max 2 and the AirPods Pro 3, and there's a moment where the beat drops and it gives me bass, and I wanted to see what that feeling is like with both of these different headphones, because again, it is insanely impressive how good the Pro 3s are in such a tiny form factor and for $300 less. Yes, the AirPods Max 2, they look cool, they're big, they're over-ear headphones, but what are you really paying for? So let's listen to them and you guys are going to see my reaction in real time. And then for reference, I will have ANC turned on with both of them, and I'll have max volume going on with both of them. And again, these are the Max 2s, the brand new ones. So we're listening to right there. So again, the bass dropped, and it was a big bass drop. I mean, I felt a nice little rattle, it felt good, it was full, it was definitely loud. But now let's do it on the Pro 3s, because I think the Pro 3s are just as loud, and the bass is, just as impressive. Like, when I put these on at $550, I was expecting to be blown away by the sound, the loudness, the bass, and everything that comes with that, but I wasn't as wowed as I was hoping to be. But again, let's go to the Pro 3s and see what we got. So again, Pro 3s, look how small these are, of course, everybody knows what Pro 3s are like. They do the same connectivity stuff, it still works with the Apple ecosystem, obviously. But now I'm gonna restart the song. Again, we're on max volume, same exact song. The beat drop happens at around like the 50-second mark. And ANC is turned on. They're just as loud as one another too, which is impressive. With such a small form factor. Again, here we go. It's wild, it's wild. I gotta do this one more time. Like, I'm not saying the Maxes or the Max 2s sound bad at all, because for $550, they're gonna sound good, they're gonna sound great. But again, what's so impressive is just how good the Pro 3s are. I'm getting the same level of bass, that same feeling, the same goosebumps that I'm getting at max volume with ANC turned on with both of them. Like, it feels the same. It's not like I'm getting 90% of the way there or 95% of the way there. I'm getting like 100% of the way there at $300 less, much more compact, way easier to move around. You have more smart features as well, which is kind of mind-blowing. So I don't understand what the appeal is with these at $550. If anything, I got my Sonos Ace behind me, which might not be as good as these, but they're way cheaper. And if I really want an over-ear headphone that's gonna last me 20 hours on a single charge, then I could just use those because I already have those, and use my AirPods Pro 3 in every other single situation. So I'm very let down by the AirPods Max 2 at $550, but it makes me very happy, and I'm so impressed with the AirPods Pro 3 with how much power, how much sound quality, how much bass, how much battery life, how many smart features, how many health tracking features are in there. It's just mind-blowing what Apple's been able to do with the Pro 3s, and it's the reason why it's one of Apple's best-selling products of all time. And the AirPods Max 2, for me, it gets zero recommendation. Like, if you're looking for just headphones at work, unless you really want over-ear headphones and you really need 20 hours of sustained battery life over time without taking them off whatsoever, and you obviously want to be in the Apple ecosystem, then okay, yeah, go for these. But these are more of a status symbol than they are an actual product worth $550, but that's just my opinion. Sound off in the comments. So as you guys saw, for me, in my opinion, after listening to these for hours and hours and comparing the two, playing the same exact songs over and over again, changing genres, changing type of audio in terms of music versus podcasts and vocals and versus bass and highs and lows, for me, the AirPods Pro 3, they sound basically the same. The bass isn't that much bigger on these Maxes. If anything, they're, again, the same. I was listening to the same songs when the beat dropped at max volume for both of them, and I didn't see a difference. If anything, maybe I was a little bit kind of blurred because of that $300 price difference, and maybe the Maxes are just a tiny bit better technically, but some people say 90% of the way there. AirPods Pro 3 are 99.9% of the way there from a sound quality perspective, and they're doing it in a way tinier form factor that's way more convenient overall. Now, I do want to put a caveat here. I'm one of the lucky people that AirPods Pro 3 fit perfectly in my ear outside of the box with the medium ear tips. I know some people have to mess around with the ear tips to make sure they get a solid seal. And for some people, AirPods Pro just don't stay in their ear whatsoever. For me, AirPods Pro, they stay in my ear whether I'm just static or I'm running around or jumping around, doing sprints, working out, jumping in the gym. They stay in my ear no matter what, which is amazing for me personally, and I am aware that that's not going to be the case for everybody. So somebody pointed out on Twitter when I did post about this that for them, in order to get all the conveniences of AirPods, the only way to do that for them is to get AirPods Maxes, because the AirPods Pros in any shape, way, or form just don't fit in their ears for long periods of time. So at the end of the day, who are these AirPods Maxes for? Because for me, they're just not for me. I'm not the target customer to spend $550 on a pair of headphones that I can get 99.9% of the listening experience, but also get more features out of AirPods Pro 3, which are retail $250, but Amazon always has them for like $200 or $220, and this has, like I said, more features. The target customer for this is somebody who just wants the over-ear aesthetic. They want the over-ear headphones. Maybe for the person that does have 8+ hour continuous listening sessions, which is nice to see. Or maybe it's more so of a fashion statement, right? This is a fashion statement kind of piece. When you see these and see people wearing these, you know exactly what they are. You know that how much they are. You know the type of performance that you get. This is not to say that the Maxes are bad by any means. They're great headphones. The sound quality is still fantastic. It's just I can't really justify that price point when I get that same type of fantastic audio quality out of the AirPods Pro and more value, and they're more convenient for me with the MagSafe case, the ability to charge it whether it's wired in or wirelessly via MagSafe. These you have to charge wired. They have that weird case that comes with it. They don't fold up. They're hard to bring with you. I might bring these with me if I'm on a long flight, but that's like the only use case that I see myself with these. These are not made to really run with. I've seen people running them, but they're heavy. Over time, they kind of start to bounce. They start to hurt the top of your head a little bit. So overall, maybe my expectations were set a little too high. So here's to say maybe if my expectations were a little bit lower, but again, for $550, I was expecting my body to rattle with the amount of bass that these were about to produce, when in reality, the bass is pretty much the same as you would get out of the AirPods Pro 3. But let me know in the comment down below, am I being a little too harsh on the AirPods Maxes? Again, for $550, I know how hard people work for the money. When you can get pretty much the same audio quality at $250, I'm going to recommend that 10 out of 10 times at this point. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Did you purchase them? They're not a bad purchase. If you want them, go get them. They're fantastic sound quality headphones. Their build material is amazing as always. They're just not headphones that I would personally use moving forward. But that'll do it for this video. If you guys did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you guys want to see some more coverage on some of this stuff, watch one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everyone.